No worries. Leon, after getting the first win last week, how's the mood in the group, and how are they approaching this week's challenge against Fremantle?
Yeah, positive to open up our account this year. It's always good to come off a winning weekend, but I was pleased with the way we played after a disappointing game against Richmond. But yeah, we move on really quickly, as you know, into round 4 already. We've blinked, and the season just keeps throwing up new challenges, and we've got one this weekend against Fremantle, who clearly in really good form at 2-1, and probably had a really good solid performance against the Eagles last week. So we're under no illusions. The magnitude of the game that we play this weekend is huge for us, and we need to apply that sort of pressure and apply that contested method up against Fremantle on Saturday night.
You were pretty happy with Braden Pruce last week. He get another go this week?
Yeah. And we understood that he needed a little bit of game time leading up to playing his first game for our club last weekend. He had a mixed pre-season. He's come off some injuries from last year, so he rounded him out the week before, and then he got his opportunity to play against the Gold Coast, and so he's pulled up well. He looks forward to going over there, and taking on their ruck combination. Whether it's 2 or 1, we'll have to wait and see. But it's a huge challenge. They've got some really good big men in form over there, so we'll just decide on whether or not we add a Matty Flynn in there to support him, or we go with what we had last week in Lockie Keefe supporting Prusy as well.
Is that going to be a bit horses for courses over the year, your ruck setup?
Yeah, it's been one of those things that you're trying to get settled on. You'd like to get settled on, quicker as the season progresses, because of it just gives you lots of good consistency and continuity of what you're after. But that combination's always been challenging for us. We've had some challenges with our rucks through injuries and so forth, and young developing ruckmen, just learning their craft at the lower level. We feel as though that, if Prusy can get up and running and Matty Flynn continues on his journey, then, I think that's a real opportunity that, those two could form a partnership. And, Kieran Briggs has come off a mixed pre-season, starting to, stamp his, spot as a genuine sort of ruck forward as well. He's throwing some, interesting looks at us as well. So it is an ongoing discussion for us. We like what Keefe did last week, but equally, we've also got to be prepared what's the great balance for the team.
Jesse Huggins, first couple of weeks, how have you rated his form since it was obviously unfortunate he missed round 1, but come in and been all right for a couple of weeks now?
Yeah, look, no doubt, it's been, good that he's put a couple together, and again, he was, just fell short of round 1. Continuity is the key for Jesse. I thought he contributed in a pleasing manner last week, and he gets to go back over and play his former side. I think for the first time this weekend. So he'll be looking forward to that. There'll be some nerves. There'll be some excitement. Yeah, I mean, as I said at the start of the year, if we can get Jesse playing 18 games of AFL footy in a season, then we're winning that battle of some of the challenges he's had. So. Yeah, we've got 2, 3 this weekend, and hopefully it leads to more and more. So he's in a good space. He knows the challenge he's got ahead this weekend.
It is his first game against Fremantle, as you mentioned, and also first game back in Perth since he left there a while ago now. Is there anything in that, and what sort of character is he? How will he take that challenge on?
No, he'll be okay. He'll be fine. I mean, everyone, there's that much moving and shaking from a lot of clubs these days. There's always that return to your old team or return to your home ground. I mean, there's always that every story, probably nearly every round. So Jesse, he's got some close friends there, no doubt. So there'll be probably a little bit of niggle there, but that's what makes footy so enjoyable and so good to watch. And but he's looking forward to playing a strong brand of footy, playing his role for our team, and that's being a present ahead of the footy, applying pressure, strong in the air. And being a target. So that's what he needs to bring this weekend.
Yeah, Leon, it's Andrew McKinlay from Channel 7. You've always sort of struck me as a bit of a team first type coach. If that's the case, why have you put your own sort of contract talks on hold until after this season?
Oh, look, that was, being as I explained after the game last week, I understand it's going to be a talking point, and I just want to make sure that, club and coach are really sure about the future. And, when you've been here for, I'm at 10 years at the footy club, sometimes you can jump at decisions. The club and us, myself, had really good conversation a couple of times just before the start of the season, and we just sort of said, well, instead of worrying about it at the halfway mark or the quarter-way mark, or depending on win-loss and all this speculation that's going to go on with a coach that's out of contract, let's just park it at the end of the year, have a really good mature discussion at the end of the year, and make that strong decision. And as I said, I'm loving my coaching. I'm looking forward to going over to Perth to play Fremantle this weekend, and whatever leads to that after that. So, I think it's a really good mature decision from club and coach, and we look forward to that at the end of the year. But there's a lot of water to go on the bridge before that.
Are you the type of bloke that can put that sort of white noise aside, even if it does continue throughout the season, and just compartmentalise it?
Yeah, I mean, clearly there's going to be some challenging weeks. You're not going to win every game. I'd love to sit here and say, guys, we're going to win the next 18 in a row. Then I'd be a genius. But we know that there's going to be speculation. There's always going to be that, and it heightens when you lose, or if you lose poorly, or if you lose a couple in a row. But that is what it is. I've been dealing with that for a number of years. As I said, if you're in this job, you've got to be able to deal with what comes your way in terms of that scrutiny. And it's a high pressure job, and one I enjoy. But by the time I get around to the weekend, I'm fully focused on footy, so that doesn't bother me.
Thank you.
Hey, Leon. Still a couple more weeks without Toby. Just wondering, as a leader, how he's making his influence and his presence felt around training and around the club, particularly after a couple of tough losses to start the season.
Yeah, it's always hard because he wants to get out in the park. We know he can't. His training, he's through the roof at the moment in terms of, his load and everything he's doing to prepare for his round 6 return. It is what it is. The answer really is because we can't, we can't bring him in until round 6. He has to deal with that. We understand the circumstances, he's been really good. He's learned to be a captain off the field rather than just on the field, where we know his inspirational football is part of his makeup. So dealing with that off the field has been a really good learning curve for him, along with Stephen and Josh, who are clearly playing. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm seeing him in meetings. I'm seeing him spending a lot of times reviewing a lot of younger players that are playing in our VFL. So with that opportunity Toby gets with not playing, he spends more time with a lot of younger players. But there is no doubt though, he's itching at the bit to get back in a couple of weeks.
Just Lockie Reid from Channel 10 in the West. I think the whole footy community loved watching Steve Coniglio on the weekend return to some fine form. Can you just take us through just how he's got back to his best? And do you ever have doubts that, he was going to play such good footy?
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, I think there was glimpses round 1, even round 2, there was some stuff there. And then round 3, he played a really good, strong brand of footy. And that was built on the back of probably his pre-season. And that's solely the reason that it allowed him to get his body right, his foot right, that clearly had some issues last year, his toe. And he's done everything that we've asked of him in the pre-season, from, fundamentals in weights to skills on the ground to running to swimming, all the cross training. So he hasn't missed anything, which allows him to feel good about himself, which allows him then to play some better footy. I'm really pleased that he was driving his legs, taking the game on. Players have an added, responsibility to deliver physically, but equally it's that last bit that, that confidence-wise and that mental challenge where you want to push over a hump and become a very, very good player. And I thought on the weekend he got that back and played at a really good high level. And, the challenge for Stephen now is to maintain that leading into this weekend's game against Fremantle. And it's not always going to be 30 possessions and shots on goal. It's just the manner he goes about it. And, we feel as though that's heading in the right direction. He's a terrific young man. He's been through a really tough 2.5 years. and it's holding him in good stead. He understands the ups and downs of footy, and it was good to see a really good smile on his face last weekend on the back of a great performance.
And do you get to go to, I know over the years, the club's gone to mum's place for a bit of pasta or whatever. Does that still happen, or is that old school now?
Oh, no, look, that was unbelievably generous from the Coniglio clan. And, Sandro and Jane Coniglio used to open up their home for us in those early years, especially in that early years when we were getting belted most weekends. The whole team would rock up in the bus and hit the Coniglio clan's house, and they were unbelievably generous with their time. And we haven't been there for a few years yet. Maybe we need to revisit that. But equally, I don't want to put all that pressure on the Coniglio family. We look forward to seeing them at the footy this weekend, but they're an integral part of our footy club.
And just a quick one on Sean Darcy. Do you expect him to play, and how much planning goes in? I know you spoke earlier on about your ruck and whether you go with one or two, but does that decide how many ruckmen you go with or who you go with?
Oh, look, we expect him to play. I mean, all the noise coming out of Fremantle is that we expect him to play. He's clearly a very, very good ruckman. But Meek's rucking really well as well. And, whether they play the two rucks, I mean, they'll make that call in the next couple of days. But their ruck stocks are really strong. But we expect him to play. But equally, we look forward to Bruce progressing as a ruckman with us, and whether we go with Flynn and Keefe as well, we'll determine that in the next 24 hours. But we understand there's going to be a huge challenge with their ruck combination. So, we expect him to be out there on Saturday night.
Can I just ask your travel plans? Do you just fly in and then fly out? We've had some cases over here, especially affecting local footy clubs. How does it work for you, and is there any concerns?
No concerns. I mean, we're under strict protocols of when we land, and we follow all the rules that WA have set in place. We fly in on Friday. We have a light captain's run. We stay Friday night, play Saturday, and then fly out first thing Sunday morning. So we look forward to that challenge. We feel as though we've got our travel routine down pat, and our players look forward to getting over there and playing in front of a really good crowd, and putting our best foot forward to take on a really, really good team in Freo.
Leon, that tagging role for Lockie Ash obviously was good last week against Took Miller. The Eagles did all right with Nelson on Brayshaw in the first half. Is he a target for you this week, or how do you see that tagging role playing out?
We probably last year we used Lockie in a couple of games. We probably didn't use him every week in it, depending on the set of circumstances we confront. I mean, clearly Brayshaw was a very good player. Monday we expect to play, come back in Sarong as well. So that when you have three or four, it's very hard to run with one and knock over one. Last week we thought that we needed to probably make a statement because of the week before was really poor. We'll discuss that. In games in the past, we've probably lent to going to it, if we got out of control rather than at the start. But, we were really pleased with young Lockie's game. But equally, when he plays as a free-rolling midfielder as well, he's really got a good defensive nature. So he's learnt the midfield role in the right manner. Defence is equal to offence. So I know what I'm going to get. But equally, I'd also like him to be that proactive mid as well as we progress through the season.